day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
In today's complex mortgage world, finding the right direction can be challenging. That's where Lighthouse Advisors comes in. With over 25 years of experience, we provide fractional leadership and executive oversight, guiding companies through transitions, growth, and innovation. From IMBs to brokers to credit unions to tech firms, our team of seasoned professionals is here to shine a light on solutions, ensuring your business thrives in every environment. At Lighthouse Advisors, we don't just guide, we empower. Together, let's create a ripple of success across the industry. Email us today at laura@lighthouseadvisors.com. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the incredible Jamie Frampton. She is the loan officer at Mortgage Team One. And before we speak to Jamie, I just have to set the stage a little bit. See, I asked Jamie to join us today because she was one of our guest speakers at the NAM monthly Inspire event. And she shared such incredible stories of her journey of climbing different mountains. And I said, listen, if anyone that can go through that type of resilience and perseverance and goal setting, I know that I had to hear her advice and share it all with you. So to kick us off, first off, Jamie, thank you for being here. And our first question we like to start with is, what is a piece of advice or something that you follow that has essentially been the footprint of your life?
Well, every day you need to set new goals. It doesn't matter how big or small they are. And I try every single day to start my day with a new goal. And I don't try to set it the day before. I try to set it that morning so that it's fresh and new each and every day. I have big long-term goals and I have little tiny short-term goals. And sometimes they're simply just making it through to 5 o'clock, getting everything done. One little bitty step at a time. Like today, when I woke up, my assistant, the first text I had was, she has the stomach flu and she won't be in. So it's been a little crazy, wacky Monday, but that altered my entire goals that I thought I might be waking up with. And we set some new goals. My goals today were to get her job done and my job done without anybody knowing that she was really out. So
Wow.
Life can be altered at any given time by little obstacles, and you just have to overcome them and move forward and see how you can accomplish what everybody else sees as the unaccomplishable things. So that's just kind of how I approach life.
I love that. And Jamie, I'm curious, when did you start looking at life like that? Because that's usually like something changed or something happened that changed that perspective. Or have you always been that way?
I think I've really always been this way. My mom and dad, like, we came from a very small rural town. When I was in high school, they went back to college. And so my teen years were spent on a college campus. And I got to see everyone setting their goals then. And I thought, wow, they're setting goals. But to me, even then, their goals seemed small. And I wanted to set bigger goals. And at that time, I had some goals that I set that I never actually made because my life changed. For example, at that time, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. I really know I want to be a doctor. And so I started out when I finally made it through high school and college. I started in pre-med and started working on that. But I became sick. I had weird blood issues where my platelets were low, and I had to go to the doctor every single day before I went to school and have my blood drawn. After about 180 days, I decided I did not want to be a doctor. I didn't like sick people. I had been around them too much. So life changed the goal I had set, and I had to change and set new goals. So there will be obstacles that will always make you change your goals. You just have to make sure you don't feel like a failure because you didn't meet your original goal. Life sometimes changes what you thought you wanted, and you can set new goals because of that. And I'm much happier now not being a doctor because my sister-in-law is a doctor and I hear all those wonderful stories about why she doesn't like it. So it's great to be able to have obstacles and roadblocks that make you change your direction and set totally new goals. An example being last month I tried to climb Mount Rainier and I had worked for 8 months on training and everything. I made it 11,200 of the 14,400 feet. Caught COVID. There was no physical way I could finish. 13 out of the 18 people caught it. But I will go back one day and finish that mountain. And since then, I've gotten a bid to climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
I only have to get my vaccines in this week before my hand reconstruction surgery. So I'm waiting on my doctor to give me permission for one particular vaccine to start this week. I just want to make sure it won't interfere with his surgery. So life
Wow.
always throws you some weird curveballs and then it opens doors for other crazy things. So that's, I never thought.
There's so many things that I'm thinking as you're having this conversation, right? I'm thinking about everything that you're saying. That is life. Number one, life is an adventure. Like all those things that you were just saying about, climbing mountains and the different things that you're doing, right? That's an adventure, right? But you don't have to climb mountains to have these adventure. All of us wake up every day with a clean slate of whatever that day is. Now, to your example, sometimes things go exactly the way you anticipate them. And sometimes not. Sometimes those curveballs come and those surprises happen, but it's all in how we look at it. We could look at it as, oh no, this is terrible. And now my whole day is going to be shot because something happened that I didn't plan for. Or we could say, okay, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to make sure that I'm able to do this. To your point, using the example of your assistant, I'm going to make it so that I can get through this without anyone realizing that I had this struggle, to make sure that everyone's taken care of and nothing gets dropped. And I was able to, it's like the board game of life, right? It's going through the board game of life of it's like, okay, take 2 steps back. All right, get over this hill. Okay, COVID happens. Go back to point 1, right? Like that's just life, right? And that's what it is. But Jamie, it appears that your mindset, and I love the fact that mindset is at the corner behind you, literally on your wall.
I read it many times when I have obstacles.
Like, it's all in how we look at it. We could sit there and focus in on, oh, this didn't go exactly the way I expected, or I didn't hit that goal. Or we could just say, okay, maybe not now, but we can redo this and plan for the future. So how do you stay in that mindset?
I just really don't like wasting positive energy. And that's what I see it as. When I could sit and dwell on it, I could be sad. This morning, I really could have sat and cried because the day is overwhelming. But I did not want to do that. I just thought, this is what today is. And this is what today is going to be like. And I've got to look at a great thing from it.
So just as Jamie was speaking about how you can't let anything get in the way, something got in the way. So we actually stopped recording and we're picking it back up. So on that note, Jamie, continue. How do you keep your mindset in that positive mode?
Like I was saying, I don't like to waste positive energy. I feel like you get so much more done being positive. And you could sit and be sad and you could sit and cry. And I won't lie, I think about it sometimes, but I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. It's a waste of energy. It won't get anything accomplished and it will definitely put me further behind. So let's just look at something in a different light, set a new goal, make it. I like competition too. I won't lie. That's part of it. And I love to compete with myself, whether it's running a race and getting 1 second faster or doing alone faster or anything like that. I like to set myself goals, whether anybody else wants to play with me, so to speak, or not. And anytime I have those obstacles, I look at it that way and try to just take that approach as no matter who you think you are, whether you have a competitive spirit, whether you think you can accomplish things or not, just compete with yourself and be like, I can be positive tomorrow. And when you wake up and things don't go your way, be positive for an hour, be positive until lunch, make a small, tiny goals. And then before you know it, you'll have an entire week filled with many, many obstacles where you took a positive approach and looked at it from a different angle than you used to look at things. Instead of what could be a fatalistic approach, you looked at it from a positive mindset and you got so much more accomplished, and you even end up with extra time. Some days I'm done with my work by 3:30, and I never in a million years would have thought that could be possible, because I also own and run a title company and I am an active participant in that. And most people never know I do both things, because I don't tell people I do both things. I just do them.
Yep.
So it's a little crazy how we approach things and do things. And you just have to convince yourself you can do it. And any day, and any obstacle, any loan problem, any customer that is complaining, you have to kind of mold them into your mindset by having them look at positive things. Like if a customer calls and they can't qualify and they have bad credit, we give them a plan, and they sometimes take that as a no, and they take it harshly, and they're like, I can't buy, and they're sad. Give them a time frame, call them, work with them, talk with them some of them I require talking to them every 2 or 3 days, because that's what it takes to put them in a positive mindset. Like I spoke with one client this morning. He has the most remarkable story. When I very first talked to him, he was actually homeless on the streets in Mobile. And I'm so glad he called me today for this. He's very inspiring to me. He borrowed $148,000 for a house like 5 years ago. He was the very beginnings of having his 2 years of employment. And now he owns his very own company.
Wow.
He is making so much money that he is only down to owing $70,000 on his house. He and his wife are looking at trying to purchase land and open his very own Chick-fil-A in just this very, very short period of time. And his testimony is through God, and that's what made him have his positive moments in life. And he wakes up every day and thanks God and gives to others. And he gave me an example of today. He ran into a friend that their family was in the hospital and they had no money and they didn't know how they were going to keep their power on. He went down to the power company and paid their back power and their power for them. 5 years ago, he was on the streets, literally living on the streets. And things like that, it takes something in your life to turn your mentality from fatalistic to positive. But sometimes it's just listening to somebody else. And that's what it did for him.
Yep.
And it's just, you really, really want to always think you can find a silver lining. And sometimes my friends do get a little aggravated with me. They'll call with a sad situation and I'll try to find something positive. And they're like, this is nothing positive, Jamie. And I'll be like, but you need to look at the positive of it. You're getting more time with your children, or, and I'll turn it, and before we get off the phone, they'll be happy about it. But it does aggravate a few people every once in a while, but I love it. And I love inspiring other people and making them try to think positive thoughts when everything seems doom and gloom.
It's,
it's one of the
funny.
things.
You're making me think of a few things too, where I just taught a class about negative self-doubt. And one of the things that it was speaking about is that some people are actually allergic to positive thinking because they have been brought up their entire life always recognizing the negative in things, whether it's themselves, things that they might not do right, or picking out the negative in others. And I started thinking about this, right? Because I'm like you, I see the good in everything, right? Like my brain cannot see the bad, right? Like, meaning I will only look at the opportunity. I only look at the good part. Like the bad stuff, I'm like, I know it's there and I'm going to work, but I don't focus on it. It's not the thing I focus on, right?
Right.
And I think, and it's very interesting. I was working with a client that was trying to get their entire organization to think more positive. And they started doing this thing where they required people to give compliments or give like kudos or above and beyond to their team members at least twice a day. The purpose was not to force people to like make things up. What the purpose was is to make them start noticing. So they were paying attention to, oh, I need to recognize two good things that people did today. And what happened is that they got into the routine of they were more aware of the good things. And then eventually no one had to tell them to do it. They just naturally saw it and they naturally recognized others. That's the way it is in all of our lives, right? That story that you
Love
shared
it.
about that gentleman is that no matter what, I mean, anyone that's listening to this right now, that's in the mortgage industry, that's in the real estate industry, we are blessed. We are absolutely blessed to be doing the work that we do and what we get to do
Yes.
every single day. There are millions of people that would probably change places with us right now.
Oh,
Now, sure,
yes.
on a daily basis, things happen. We know that. There is no magical utopia of everything always comes up the right way, but we have a choice to focus on the good things or to focus on just the hard things. And
Right.
it's so funny when you said that story about sometimes people are like, "How do you see the good in this?" I can appreciate that.
Like the realtors in our area are down in their sales
Sure.
numbers. All the mortgage people are as well. But I try to get them to look at this. God has given you an opportunity to spend time with your family, to revamp your business plan. Those opportunities, when we're in massive growth, we don't get to see a lot of our family. We are very busy during that time. And I am absolutely in love with dips in business, and people don't understand why I am, but I have teenagers. I get to be at, even when I am busy, I still sit on the sidelines of the baseball field or the football field with my laptop. But when we're a little slower, I don't necessarily have to have that laptop there with me at all times, open and working. And I love the dips. And people are like, how can you say that? How can you live like that? And I'm like, you have to enjoy every moment of this industry and embrace it and love it, because we all know when there's a dip, there's going to be a big, huge influx of business coming down the road. And
All
we'll be ready.
cycles. It's
Yes,
all
indeed.
cycles, all cycles. Jamie, I love your perspective. I love that you set goals every single day. It's so, so valuable. So, as we wrap up, I'd love to hear what is your piece of advice that you would like to share with all of the audience?
I really think that each and every person needs to look at the tiniest thing that they can accomplish in a day if they are not currently setting goals, and just set a small goal, whether it be to do your laundry or to do your dishes or to go meet one new person and make it be one of your neighbors. Maybe meet everybody on your street. Those are new connections for you that you may not have had time to meet during high business. Just set tiny goals, and those tiny goals will grow and grow and grow until one day you're climbing mountains, not literally like I am currently doing, but until your goals are huge. And I probably have a list of goals that are an entire page long, and I'm constantly working on all of them. And don't get upset when you don't make one of them. Just move it back to the bottom and keep working on all the ones that you can knock off easily. Don't get discouraged and keep going. Keep climbing those mountains.
Exactly. Keep climbing those mountains and make every day an adventure, because
Yes,
life wasn't isn't meant to be looked upon as being hard. It's a gift that we have these days. Enjoy them and look at them as that adventure, like climbing that mountain, because we're all climbing some type of mountain. Enjoy
exactly.
it. take a deep breath, embrace, the fresh air, and look at the trees and look at the flowers and enjoy the bee that's buzzing around you, because all of those little micro things, and standing on those sidelines watching our children play sports or whatever else that you're around that brings happiness to your life, enjoy those moments. Jamie,
Yes.
thank you so much for taking the time to spend it with us. I know today is a hectic day for you, and we truly appreciate you doing that. Keep shining brightly, keep climbing those mountains and knocking off those goals, and we'll keep watching and celebrating you from the sidelines.
Thank you so much, Laura, for having me. And it's always a pleasure to be with you in any format.
Take care.